tell it on the mountain over the hill.
In some cases. Some cases they could be making the caveat themselves. Another example of this would be, say 3 years ago, I was reading a pamphlet, and I won't make it about names or anything like that, but I was reading a pamphlet, and it said something like, we need to not focus, don't bring up the rape conceived, and let's not sort of like go for this uncompromising all abortions thing. What we really need, what we found to be effective, is if we say, that's just 1%, let's focus on this, try not to bring up, if they bring up the rape thing, you can answer it or whatever, don't bring up the rape thing, and use later term abortions. Focus on these things. We've done statistical analysis, we've done some studies, we know that it appeals to people, we can do a good job of this. Someone puts out the pamphlet, they're trying to get all pro-lifers to sort of like join together to focus on 20-week abortion bans, and whether there's exceptions in there is a moot point here, but like to focus on the things that, we looked at it, and people in Albuquerque, a lot of people seem to be like against abortion after 20 weeks. We think we have a good chance of passing this, so let's do this. When they're doing that, and we come along and we say things like, in the rape thing, stop murdering babies conceived in rape, and we just say it over and over again. So you get like 16 different memes that are like, don't hold a sign that says life is knit together in the womb by God, and then also have a rape exception. When we put these agitating things out, whenever everyone's getting serious about a 20-week abortion ban, and we start putting things out like 98.7% of abortions happen before 20 weeks, people are like, jerk, we're all trying to unify around this sort of deal. But it starts to modify what people are interested in. So people who would at one time say, don't get in a tizzy about rape, that's only 1%, are now speaking to a crowd, whether they like us or not, who think children conceived in rape are made in the image of God, and we ought to be fighting for them. We shouldn't be punishing them for the crimes of their father, and the rape exception may be the key to keeping abortion legal because it can't be legislated. They're thinking all these things, and so whereas someone could give a talk or produce a pamphlet or a booklet that said, let's just let the rape exception be there, if we can abolish all abortions except for those conceived in rape, we've done a good job. But they know that the culture is being saturated with this very forward. The first quadfold or whatever, maybe not the first one, but some of the first sort of memes and quadfolds and so on and so forth weren't just saying like, here, let's answer the rape exception. They were coming full blown out. Let me bring up the rape exception. So now it's becoming more difficult for a pro-life leader to stand up and say, we're only talking about 1% here. Don't get in a tizzy. Now they have to say things like, I don't believe in exceptions, because of the effect of the agitation. But by the time so we started with the rape exception and saying like, the rape exception keeps abortion legal. And we were hitting that. Wouldn't endorse Romney because of that. Romney's running commercials that validate it. And we're saying all this stuff, and we're the bad guys and all that kind of thing. But by the time now that people are like, okay, I don't think there should be a rape exception, and trying to remove that from their stump speech, because their stump speech can't have stuff in it that we've made look ridiculous. Now we're anti-20-week fetal pain legislation. So in a year from now, or whatever, whenever you have leaders of pro-life organizations, people who've got the respect in the ear of the populace, standing up and saying, guys, I don't think 20-week fetal pain, a human isn't a human based on whether they feel pain. They're still not going to be friends and likers of AHA, But they'll be saying things that we say now in a year. But in a year from now, we'll be saying things like, I mean, you can disagree. I'm saying this from the perspective of an agitator. I'll put it in historical terms. Garrison is saying black people and white people can marry and have children together. And colonizationists are saying, I get you on the being sin, but we need to deport them. By the time they said, okay, we don't need to deport them, maybe we need to just keep slavery out of westward expansion. By that time, Garrison's saying things like, we need the country to be half white and half black. And they're like scared to death. So he's always out in front of them, and they're always adopting the positions that he formerly had. We call this, and this is what Todd wanted me to talk about, and sorry, meandering, and hopefully there's some bits in there that make sense. We call it a still ball, and I'm not going to go into why we call it a still ball, unless y'all want to hear a weird story just to close, but that we know that some of the things that we're saying are not going to be adopted by the whole of culture. And this is all in the political pro-life thing. And we know that whenever we call entire churches to rise up out of apathy and to try to love their unborn neighbors and all that kind of stuff, that many, many churches and bodies of people are going to be like, no. But some will. And we grow in this sort of little bitty, fits and spurts. Every time someone comes along, you'll have some group come. So we're small and we're saying the crazy thing. And so all these people are saying, so here's a historical example, this being history, our history. All these people are saying we need to vote pro-life first. Let's have a conference call. We need to vote pro-life first. And printing t-shirts, vote pro-life, and they're going to have all these different leaders from all these different organizations that are synergistically kind of helping each other out. They are the pro-life movement. And I'm not saying that's bad that they all help each other out. It's good. But they're all going to be on a phone call, and they're going to talk about the need to vote pro-life. And of course, we're not going to be on the phone call because we don't think it's possible to vote. We have Mitt Romney running against, what's that one guy, the president? Barack Obama. And they want us to vote pro-life first, and then we say, how can you even do that? Are you asking us all to vote for Tom Hoefling? He's not going to win. He's not even on the ballot in most states. I don't get it. How can we vote pro-life first and all this kind of stuff? And we call into question the whole thing. But they've printed out vote pro-life first stuff for the sides of vans, and they've driven to swing states, and they've spent all this time, money, and energy saying vote pro-life first. They can't really say vote Romney, but that's what they mean. And some of them that are able can put they can hold up signs that say I'm an abortion abolitionist and I will not throw away my vote. I vote for Romney. And so you have all these pro-lifers sort of unifying and banding together to say vote pro-life first, vote Romney, so on and so forth. And you abolitionists are stupid. Get the best that you can get when you can get it. He is clearly the greater good, or the lesser evil. And so this big, monstrous group of people who are for Romney, who were for McCain, who were for Bush, who were for all the way back, come and say, y'all are stupid, and then smash onto this little small group that's saying, Romney's not pro-lifer, Romney supports abortion, Romney wouldn't do anything, so on and so forth. We're being that gadfly. And when that big thing smashes onto the small thing, when it removes, we get a little bigger. So each conflict, in all the agitation, where someone is well, I was on Facebook, and I was watching this thing go off, and this abolitionist was saying that children conceived in rape were made in the image of God, and this pro-lifer was saying, yeah, but would you not save all the babies to save this baby, to save these babies, and got in this debate, and it went back and forth, and everyone was laughing and trouncing on him and so on and so forth, and they eventually banned the abolitionist and said that the abolitionist was rude and mean, and all this kind of stuff, and then they all got together, and then he was no longer able to talk, and they all talked about how great they were, and I read the whole thing, and now I'm a part of the Abolitionists. We are very small, growing, and I would say holding a consistent view that happens to not go against Scripture, because we never go with the multitude to do evil. And as we're growing, as we're getting bigger, as we have more people, Project Frontlines, if you really do have 50 abolitionist societies going to their local schools and passing out pamphlets, holding signs, talking about abortion in their local areas, and all these people are like associated or affiliated or connected or whatever with AHA, we're all sharing the same ideology, and that's growing and growing and growing and growing. What is it about what we're saying that makes people go to their local high schools?